What we're gonna try to do, and I have not thrown a crankbait on this place yet. I know the fish are here and they're deep. They're 18, 20, 21, 22. So I tied on the Berkley dredger, the 25.5, and this bait will truly get that deep. But the whole key to depth is length of cast. The longer you cast the bait, the deeper you can get it. I have a south wind blowing. I've got a place that we know fish are using and they're there. So I'm gonna try to catch them on a crankbait. So what I have done is I've moved out of the 45 foot of water. Here's the 22 where these fish are coming. You can see where I have been catching them on the wacky rig. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in on the shallow side of this. My boat will be sitting in 18, 19. I'm gonna put the wind to my back. I'm putting the wind to my back just so I can cast further to give me a max depth out of the crankbait. And I'm gonna try to make this cast right here out into the 40, and I'm gonna pull the crankbait through that stuff just to see if I can't get a bite on this 25.5. There's one. In my second cast, oh, big smallmouth. Oh yeah. See there? I kind of like it. Literally, that was my second cast on this place where I've been catching them on a drop shot. And I just catch a big old slab on this 25. That is a tank. I mean, a gorgeous fish. It just goes to show what I have been trying to say earlier, is the anglers need to understand the tools that they have at hand to use and how to correctly use them. That's what makes you a better fisherman. Just because you're out there catching fish on a certain way or a certain technique, don't think that's the only way to catch fish. A lot of times you're catching them, but another technique will lend to bigger fish. Let's see if we can't catch another one. That was kind of fun. Like I said, you know, this dredger is one of the most awesome tools. There's been a tremendous amount of research, years of hard work coming into the right balance and the right shape to actually get a crankbait that will dive deeper than any other crankbait on the market. And it's so easy to fish. I'm just throwing on 10-pound test line. And this is truly a 25.5 foot plug. I've seen it, you know, anyhow, we've done all the testing on it. But the key thing about any one of these hard baits is they have to catch fish. And this one here, the dredger, does catch fish. There's another one. Oh yeah, woohoo, tank. Exact same cast. You're gonna jump, 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 jump. Largemouth. See, what I simply did is I came back up after that last fish that we caught, positioned the boat so I can make that same cast again. So obviously there's a, you know, there's a school of fish down there. Now, one thing that I've noticed, that these fish have all been hooked on the back hook. So what that kind of tells me is that they're not overly aggressive. And that's probably one of the reasons why the drop shot bait's been working so good too. They're not overly aggressive. But when I was here earlier in the week, there was real hard north wind blowing. We just had a major front come through. So with this south wind and this little overcast, these fish right here are probably going to start eating a little bit. Now I'll get excited if I go back to that waypoint and make that same cast and catch another one. Because I've seen it happen on this lake where I can just keep throwing and throwing and throwing, catch them every cast. I am fishing 10-pound test fluorocarbon, the Berkley Green 100%. I'm fishing the 10 so I can get max depth. It's hard for me to throw a bigger plug on much lighter line than that just because of the cast. But the 10 100% absolutely works phenomenal. I fished a big plug in shallow water. I mean, I crank with 20, 17 all the time because depth is not a fact, you know, not an issue. I'm trying to achieve depth, so I'm going to use a smaller diameter line. Allows me to achieve that. You know, every angler's different. It's kind of like golfers. You know, we all kind of have a different set of clubs. We're different heights. Our arm lengths are different. And so you have to kind of just kind of feel around to what, you know, basically get something that fits you. I prefer my crankbait rod here that I'm throwing is a parabolic bend. It's a 7-1 medium action. 7 foot or longer seems to be really good for cranking big crankbaits. And the reason why I say really good, because the rod length gives you added distance, and added distance gives you added depth. That's a key. You've got to be, if you're really trying to get a crankbait deep, you've got to be able to make the cast. There's one. Oh yeah. Oh, brown fish. Just gorgeous, beautiful fish. I mean, look at all this right here. And I'm actually coming back up, but this break here continues out into 40. And these fish are coming like right in this zone right here, which is more 19 to 22, 23. That's the reason why I chose our 25.5 over our 25 or our 17.5. Again, every one of these baits pull the same way, but the key is the depth. So you actually have the tool to go different depths with the same action, pretty much the same size bait. You know, the profiles change a little bit, but I mean, look at all this activity that's sitting right here. You know, that waypoint that I put up here that I'm headed back to is the cast I can make back over here, so I can pull that bait in that 21, 22 foot of water. And if you notice, that's where I've been catching them on a drop shot, but I've got a south wind blowing now, so I'm just basically moving on the other side, putting the wind to my back so I can make an extremely long cast. And this 25.5 is built and designed to throw a long ways so you can achieve that depth.